The fitness industry has fucking lied to you. They tell you you need to live in the gym, 4 to 6 workouts per week, 10 to 20 sets per muscle group, 5 angles per muscle group. It's absolute fucking bullshit. This was built with literally 2 workouts per week with low volume, high intensity training, literally 2 hours per week in the gym maximum, 5 exercises per workout, couple sets per exercise. Literally that's all it takes. That's all I've done. When I tried to do the 4 to 6 workouts a week, live my life in the gym, be a gym rat, I got fuck all results. And if you're doing that, that's why you don't have results either. Most people fail to achieve their dream physiques because they're following the wrong advice, simply put. Most people are following the advice from steroid-infused fitness influencers and bodybuilders whose training advice and whose training methodology will not work for them, mainly because it's too much volume, too many training days, too many sets, too many exercises for them to actually use productively. So when someone who's not taking drugs tries to follow the training routine of a bodybuilder or someone who is taking drugs, they will train beyond their recovery ability because steroids give you superhuman recovery abilities and they radically change the process of body transformation. So someone who's not taking drugs has to go about it completely differently, mainly focusing on having more recovery. So when the normal person who has a life, responsibilities outside of the gym and is not taking drugs tries to follow a routine like that, what happens is that they're doing so much work that in each workout, subconsciously, they know they have so much work to get through, so many exercises and sets, that they have to dilute their effort and their focus, and they have to reserve their intensity, right? So they can never do justice to any given set or any given exercise that they're doing. So they're never training hard enough to actually stimulate growth. And even if they are training hard enough to stimulate growth, they're not giving their bodies enough time between workouts to actually recover and grow from the stimulation they created in the gym. And this is why most people are just in a constant state of stagnation. So I'm able to eat what seems like a large quantity of food because I focus mostly on whole foods. And a lot of people make dieting way too complicated. It's not complicated whatsoever. It's super simple. If you want to stay full on a diet and you want to eat, a large quantity of food, you need to focus on whole foods, which are single ingredient foods like apples, eggs. These tend to have fewer calories and they fill you up more because they're more dense in nutrition, right? And you tend to be able to eat a larger volume of these foods because they're not as dense in calories. If you compare that to a diet that consists of pizza, burgers, donuts, shakes, you're obviously not going to be able to eat much quantity of those foods because they're so dense in calories. So a huge part of staying lean is focusing on whole foods that are very dense in nutrition that keep you full on a lower calorie intake.
Why is it so easy nowadays to end up getting the wrong information?
It's very easy to end up with the wrong information because, simply put, 99% of fitness influencers and fitness authorities are taking drugs. And don't listen to them. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, don't fucking listen to people who are essentially cheating to build their physiques, right? You want to listen to people who are actually, talking the talk but walking the walk, right? I think that's why a lot of people take my advice, because they see that I've been doing this for a long time. They see my physique progress over time using the teachings, the philosophy that I teach on my channel, and they see me actually living it, right? And there are a lot of people who talk a good talk, but don't actually show them walking the walk and following the approach that they preach. So I practice what I preach, as you guys can see. And that's what you want to look out for. People who are teaching timeless principles and who are also showing you them practicing what they preach instead of just talking, giving you endless information. So what I'm trying to achieve with Polarity Fitness is to revolutionize the fitness industry and change the way people see fitness. So I sort of see myself as a contrarian, as a maverick, and as someone who is sort of the kryptonite to the fitness industry, as someone who's really shaking things up and changing the way people view fitness and bringing truth to an industry that's filled with bullshit. But ultimately, my goal is to transform more bodies and lives than anyone else ever has in the history of the fitness industry. And I plan on doing so by, again, bringing truth, right? Bringing truth, bringing the real shit, bringing substance to an industry that lacks substance and lacks, integrity.
So if people switch up what they're doing and actually start listening to some of your advice, how possible is it for them to achieve the physique of their dreams?
I mean, you don't even have to take my word for it. You can go through any of the comment sections on my videos and you'll see so many people having this light bulb moment where they realize, like, oh my God, this is like such common sense. How have I not been doing this sooner? That's the result that you can expect. And it goes quickly when you haven't been doing things properly for a long time, right? So many people, they've been following these traditional bodybuilding routines, following the old way, the old method of like 4 to 6 workouts a week, 10 to 20 sets per muscle group, all this common shit that's promoted in the fitness industry. And then all of a sudden they drop their volume all the way back. They start putting more intensity into their workouts. They start focusing on big basic compound movements. They focus on getting stronger over time. And all of a sudden, they're making the best progress of their lives, spending a fraction of the time that they were spending in the gym before. So I'm extremely passionate about books, and books have honestly been responsible for any of the knowledge that I've acquired throughout my life, and I believe more people should be reading books, because Tony Robbins has this quote where he says, books compress decades into days. And I absolutely love that, because someone literally took like 10 to 50 years or sometimes an entire lifetime of specialized knowledge and encapsulated it into one book for you to literally consume in a matter of days. And if that doesn't blow your fucking mind, there's no hope, right? So there's this story that I love so much from Dan Henry, who's one of my mentors. He talks about how, back when he was working his cubicle job, right, he hated his job. And one day, the CEO of the company he worked at came in for the day, right? And he actually had the opportunity to sit next to him while he was eating lunch. And so Dan took the opportunity to ask the CEO, like, hey, what's the secret? Like, how do I get rich? How do I build my own company? And the CEO looks at Dan and he's like, Dan, how many books have you read on getting rich? And Dan is like, I haven't read any. He's like, you don't want to get rich. And I absolutely love that. And it goes for any area of your life. Like, you want a good relationship? How many books have you read on building a great relationship? If you want to get fit, you want to build a great physique, how many books have you read on building a great physique? Right? If the answer is none, then you don't fucking want it, because all of the information, everything you want to do in your life has been fucking done. It's been done before. All you have to do is go and find the people who've done it, and you have to model them, and you have to look at what they did to get there, right? And you have to look at their teachings. And that's why I absolutely love books. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, look at some of the books I have here. These are just a few of the books I have, but this is Sam Walton's autobiography, which is one of my favorite books of all time. Sam Walton's the founder of Walmart, built a multi-billion-dollar retail empire. When he passed away, his 3 kids and his wife became the top 4 richest people in the world, which is absolutely insane, right? So these are his literal words of how he built a multi-billion-dollar retail empire. It's basically a story about, for me, it was a story about persistence and obsession, right? This book right here. This is Bezos's letters to shareholders, right? So Amazon's letters to shareholders. So Jeff Bezos literally wrote how he built fucking Amazon through his letters to shareholders. And this book basically takes the principles from those letters to shareholders and encapsulates it for the reader, right? This is, Ray Dalio's book, Principles. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Literally, these are the principles that Ray Dalio lived by as a billion-dollar guy. The principles he lived by to do what he did in his life, right? And then, I got a couple other books here. This is a biography of Steve Jobs, founder of Apple. This is the book Starting Strength, which is one of my favorite books on fitness. So a lot of my fitness knowledge has come from books, right? Like a book like this is a really mandatory book for anyone looking to get into fitness, into strength training. It talks about like how to properly execute the basic compound exercises, which I'm big on, like the squat, the bench press, the deadlift, just like literally tons of pages on the proper execution of those lifts. This is a mandatory fitness book. But a lot of the books I've read on fitness over the years have been responsible for the philosophy that I built with Polarity Fitness. That's getting a lot of people results, right? And so that's why, a lot of what I teach is incredibly valuable, because it not only comes from my experience, but it comes from, years of study, like hours and hours and hours of studying different books, people from the 40s, the 50s, the pre-steroid era, different books on all sorts of topics relating to fitness. And I've basically taken all that knowledge, combined it with my own experience, formed my own hypothesis, and basically, packaged it in a very simple, accessible, easy to consume format for you guys. And that's what a lot of my products and services are based on, and a lot of the content that I put out there on YouTube. So low volume, high intensity training is extremely effective for muscle growth because of the recovery that it gives you. So all of the benefits of low volume, high intensity training all stem back to the abundance of recovery that you get training with low volume and then pushing that low volume with higher intensity. So the way this relates into building an incredible physique is that since you have so much recovery typically between workouts, right, where you're training just twice a week, you step into the gym so recovered and so fresh. Your muscles are recovered, your central nervous system is recovered and ready to go, and it allows you to train with such a high level of intensity, and training with that intensity is what really stimulates muscle growth. If you look at people who are training 4 to 6 days a week with a high volume, high frequency bodybuilding routine, they're oftentimes just going through the motions because their effort, their focus is diluted amongst so much stuff that they have to, they subconsciously hold back. They hold that intensity back because they know they have so much work to get through. And they know that if they actually dump lots of intensity into each set, they're not gonna be able to get through all the work. So they have a dilution of focus and effort. And then the other key factor is that muscle is not built in the gym. Muscle is stimulated. Muscle growth is stimulated in the gym in your training sessions, but is built when you're outside of the gym, resting, recovering, and feeding your body with proper nutrition. So the goal of training is to stimulate muscle growth with a small amount of hard training. You actually want to do the minimum effective dose of training required to stimulate growth, and then you want to get out of the gym, rest, recover, and let your body actually grow from the stimulation that you created in the gym. People don't have to listen to me because the proof is in the pudding. I don't need to tell you what to do. You can just look at what I'm doing because I practice what I preach, unlike most fitness influencers. And you can look back at the history of my channel, you can see that I've been doing the same shit for years. This isn't something I just pulled out of my ass or stripped from someone else. This is shit that I live and breathe every single day. And I'm comfortable not even being preachy at this point, because you can see that the proof is in the pudding and that I practice what I preach and the results show. And you can also, again, scroll through any of my comment sections on any of my videos. You can see all the people whose lives have transformed as a result of applying this approach, just simply from the YouTube videos themselves. And then you can look at my customers, my clients, and see the results that they're getting and how they have stated that they could never get results with the traditional bodybuilding approach where they were living in the gym, training 4 to 7 days a week, and then all of a sudden they dropped their training down to just twice a week. They started lowering the volume. They started putting more intensity into their training. They started focus on the time-proven compound lifts and getting strong at them, and their physiques transformed rapidly. So I first got into low volume, high intensity training because I actually spent a considerable period of time doing the high volume, high frequency bodybuilding stuff where I was in the gym 4 to 6 days a week, spending hours in the gym, pumping light weights for endless amounts of sets and reps, focusing on bro splits, doing isolation exercises. And I never got the results I wanted. And it was extremely frustrating and disappointing because I could not fathom how I could be putting so much time and effort into something and getting such little results in return. And then after about a year, I started to come to the conclusion that fitness was taking much more from me than it was giving me. And so I actually dropped the amount of time I was spending in the gym. And I didn't even know really that it was going to yield me better results. However, as soon as I did drop that training volume and I went from training like 5-6 days a week down to just 3 days a week, my physique progress started to take off. And I was like, holy shit, there's something to this. I started to realize that more is better mentality that's so prominent in society doesn't actually apply to weight training because of our body's limited ability to recover as people who are not taking drugs. And I realized that I was just looking at social media and bodybuilders and all this different shit, and I was pretty much mimicking them. And then what I didn't realize at the time is that what they're doing doesn't apply to me. they're taking steroids and their lives revolve around the gym. I'm not taking steroids, I'm natural, and I don't want my life to revolve around the gym. Therefore, I dropped the amount of time I was spending in the gym. My results took off massively.
You're supposed to get the egg in the bowl?
You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Get yourselves a cast iron pan.